Today is Sunday, the 18th April. I came out to make a video of just walking around the yard, but I decided to do something else. But I want to show that the columbines are doing better, or not better because they're always doing good, but they're getting bigger, and it's very warm today, and that's nice. My pond's doing good. I lost 2 koi fish this past winter. I don't know why. I think probably from predators. I do have 1 koi fish in the pond, and I've got about 15 assortments of goldfish. And all the goldfish in the pond now have been in there so long that they were all born in the pond. I haven't bought any goldfish in years and years, so everything that's in there this has been their home. I do have 1 koi that's a butterfly koi, so I'm very glad that if they had to take, if 2 of them had to go, at least, you know, the butterfly koi is still in there, and that's very nice. I just ordered 11 baby koi fish from eBay, so that's good. So and also I kind of did some research about how to protect your pond from predators. Finally, I'm going to start doing a better job about protecting them, because it seems like it's just getting worse. It says foxes can eat the koi, and herons, and what else? Possums and raccoons, and so, and we have all those around here. There's a lot of herons, whatever those birds are called, that fly over, and you know, they're going from lake to the ponds or back and forth, and every once in a while I'll see one. Like kingfisher is another bird that will eat the koi. So, you know, I'm glad all those wild creatures are here, and I love to see them. And the foxes can too. I saw a fox run down the road. And they say it's at night is when all that happens. Though I'm going to get a net, I believe, just some kind of a net, and start putting over the surface of the pond at night. But then I got the idea, well, what else? So about a week ago, I put a video on about the new quilt that I was going to make, and I showed it all laying out on the downstairs floor, and I'll show you what I've done to it so far. This is all the squares, and they're numbered, and so okay, so far I've got 3 rows sewed together. I'm sewing them by hand because I like to sew by hand. I like controlling more. I'm not used to electric sewing machine. I did sew these triangles together with the sewing machine and did a good job, but the trouble is what I'm trying to do is match these, and they're not perfectly, you know, if you were a quilter that was aimed for perfection, you know, you would make sure each square was the same size, you know, but I'm not one of those people. And I do like sewing by hand, except if you do a lot of sewing with your fingers, and if, you know, your fingers have been around for 70 years like mine has, my fingers have been busy all their lives. So anyway, but I sewed, you know, there are 8, I sewed those squares together, and this is the second row. I sewed those 6 squares together, And then last night I sewed these 6 squares together. So this is like a day and a half, and it's like probably about 5 hours of work so far that I've done. But then after each row, this individual row is sewed, and then I sew the 2 rows together, and they're numbered. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then over here 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I did that when they were all laid out in the downstairs art studio, and so every one of these are numbered, so I know where they go. And so far it's working out pretty good. I wish I could use the sewing machine to sew it. It would go 100 times faster, but that's okay. I think it's worth doing, and I'll continue doing it. Now the trouble, I knew it was going to shrink up just a little bit because of the 1/4 inch hemming. So, and I'm going to be adding some kind of border around this. I don't know what it'll be, but if the pattern is very nice, I just may make it to be a wall quilt and not a bed quilt. But whatever happens to it, I'm going to take it to Terry's house, and I'm going to let him have it. I know if it's at Terry's house, it will stay in perfect condition, and he'll take care of it. And if he dies before I die, I'll get it back. If I die before he dies, well, he'll just have it. And he can, whatever he wants to do with it, doesn't matter. But, and I want a little, that's information for that. And I thought just that I'd bring out 2 other things. It's kind of, I'll show you, this is a atypical quilt that I make. I haven't made, a quilt. This is almost traditional blocks and stuff, so I haven't done that in a while. I'll show you, my mother used to quilt, and I was always fascinated when she did the quilts. I mean, that's what we had on our beds in the wintertime, was all the quilts that my mother made. We just had like stacks of them, so, but this is one that I have that she made, and I guess she made this probably in the mid-60s, 1960s. And she made me one. She made Kevin one, who was my partner at the time. And, well, she didn't make us one. These she had, she made one for my sister, she made one for me, and she made one for herself. And so I have to get my story straight. I have so many stories. So I guess my sister still has hers. I really don't know. I'd like to find out. I'd like to get it from her if she doesn't want it, or I would pay her money for it. But she's probably used it and it's turned. But I'm showing it and I'm not talking about it. So this is the quilt that my mother made in like 1960, in the 60s. And she made 3 of them. My sister got one, I got one, and this was my mom's, and she had it in a cedar chest and kept it there, so that's why it's in still such good condition, and never used it. Now the one that she made for me, I used it very carefully, but I have a good friend in Florida, and when I got this quilt from my mother, then I gave him the quilt that she made for me. And I guess my sister still has hers. So this is, you know, so I was influenced, not influenced, but, you know, when I was growing up, you know, in the wintertime, my mother quilted. So, you know, she would get the quilting frame out and all this and that. And so anyway, and besides that quilt, this is the kind of quilt I usually make. It's more of an art quilt. I think, I may have one more if I look real close, but I think this is the only one I have of these quilts that I've made. You know, people buy them. So I'm trying to hang on. I guess I'm just hanging on to this one. It was kind of a self-portrait. I mean, almost every face I draw, you know, kind of has some kind of influence that it looks like me. Let's see some more. But this is silk that I painted on. And I also drew magic marker on it that doesn't bleed. There's a whole lot of all this. There's, I don't know if you know, all of this is hand sewing. You can see some of the stitches, and all of this, and one thing I do that I really haven't talked about is eyeballs. And Eileen, the artist friend I had, pointed this out. Is like, see, I do things and I don't even realize I'm doing them. And what she noticed is that the eye, let me see, it's a hard reflection. Okay, I see the eye. The eye there, the center, the reflected light portion of the eye that reflects, I always make those crosses. So I don't, this one's a little obscured, but right in here is a cross. You know, there's a cross right here. So if you look at if you ever see any of my art and it has people's eyes, or, you know, just eyes in general, the pupils have crosses in the middle of them. Why? I do not know. It's like that other thing that I do that Eileen kind of pointed out. She said everything that I make has a certain image in it. And I really wasn't paying attention to that, but I guess she was. And she could see those images. So I go, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. Because, you know, when I'm painting or drawing, it's all pretty much, you know, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. I'm just letting whatever is guiding me, which is, I don't know what. It's an instinct or it's just years of doing it. But it's like I just, you know, turn my brain off, hold the thing, pencil, paintbrush in my hand, and just start moving it. And my hand and arm does the work. And then I stand back from it and I look at it and I go, oh. And then sometimes I, you know, emphasize some parts of that and sometimes I don't. And that's it. Oh golly, everything is so beautiful. This rose, I want to move it, but it looks so healthy. A friend of mine gave me these things here. A lot of my plants I got from people. You know, all these irises are from my mom, you know. I brought the 2 peonies from Atlanta when I lived there. I moved here in '94. A juga, now I think Beverly down the road gave me a juga. We went to high school together, but she died of cancer about 2 years ago. Her partner Janice still lives down at the end of the road, and we see each other. And she says, it's weird that me, you know, she's talking about herself, and me, who is me, that, you know, we're going to be the people that are going to be here left. You know, her lover died, Beverly, who has been a friend of mine since high school. We took driver's training together. And so, I don't know, I guess we've been in here. Well, I'm just talking too long. Once I get started, I wanted to feed the fish so we could see them. And I still have, I did put the pole back in the fisherman's boy's hand, and it's got the string in there. I got a duck at the Goodwill store that reminds me of the duck that was in the kayak. There's also a big boat, It's not a big boat compared to the duck. There's the fountain, the filter over there. I need to put that back in the water and turn the fountain on so the water is circulated. It's not doing bad now. Yeah, like I said, I ordered some koi fish. Paid a good, got them from eBay, free shipping at 11 or 12. And I got them for, you know, $80. That's a good deal. What else? Well, the quilt, we already looked at that, but it's a shame that those were nice quilts. That quilt of my mother was nice. It has to do with, I can tell you the pattern of that quilt. It has to do with politics. And my mother said there were elephant quilts people made that I guess represented the Republican Party. And there were quilts that people made that were donkey quilts, and they represented the Democrat Party. I don't know what the elephant design looked like. I never did research for that, but it would have been kind of nice to mix the elephants and the donkeys together. But yeah, my mother, you know, they're all sewed by squares. You see those little squares? She sewed all those. I don't know. She did it weird. I don't know. Sometimes she sewed the squares together, and these little white things are all individual squares. But she used a sewing machine. She didn't use. And look how nice everything was put together. I mean, for me to do an intricate thing like this, I don't have the experience of and comfortable with a sewing machine doing it. And so I do it this way, which is an old-fashioned way. And it's very relaxing. But yeah, so this is my quilt technique that I usually use, which is painted fabric. It's an art quilt, you know. Sometimes I do. About a year ago, someone ordered a quilt with a picture of the woman's friend, a female friend, and her bulldog, and she wanted me to make a quilt of the bulldog and with the woman's face in it too, so it's like a portrait. And you know, I did. She liked it a whole lot, was very, very pleased with it, you know. And the person that she sent it to in Colorado also liked it, so that's good. Terry, we're going to go to a place, an art gallery today, in a small little tourist town. I think I'm going to take a couple of my pieces that I've been working on and see if I'll put them in the... I need to get rid of them somehow. So, I mean, I'm still weaving and, you know. So I haven't pursued any, you know, art galleries in a while because I haven't needed to, you know, because I just didn't need to, because, you know, I have my shop here and it's open on special occasions, like, you know, 3 times before the holiday season, and then that's pretty much it. And so all the stuff that I have woven, you know, I'll price it, put it out. There'll be people come and buy stuff. You know, everything's a pretty good deal. You know, money is not the driving force of my life, and I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually doing, you might not look at it by looking at my house or surroundings or my automobile, but I'm doing very well. You know, I don't need a nice looking automobile. I don't need, all I need is what you see that's surrounding me. That's all I need, pretty much. It's the most important thing. You know, I'm so happy that I don't have children. There's enough children in this world. In fact, I think there's way too many children in the world, and it's a shame that we won't get to talk about all that. But I'm so happy that my life path journey went to art and making beautiful things for other people, and it's worked out marvelous. I wouldn't change a thing. I'm so fortunate. A bunch of flowers are going to be blooming soon. I could get the weeds out of that. That wouldn't take no time. So I guess that's about it. As you can see, I did some mowing the yard and weed eating, and I broke this stuff up. I need to get rid of it. Columbines blooming. Going to set these things out in the grass. I'll take my camera with me when we go to the art. I don't know if I have the camera on when I go to the art gallery, and for me to drop my weavings off there, although she doesn't know I'm coming. And and then I know a ceramicist that is kind of halfway close by there, and Terry hasn't been there, and we're going to go to his studio, and I might be able to have the camera on a little bit there, you know. He said he'd like for me to come over and film ceramic, you know, talk about his ceramics and stuff like that. So, and I'm in contact with a musical group that I know that I usually hire them to perform at my open houses. Like this past November, if we wouldn't have had COVID, October, you know, I would have had 3 get-togethers, mainly kind of party, people getting together that haven't seen each other in a while, and mostly they're artists or they or people that appreciate art. And then, you know, I usually hire that one band to always perform. And I've been trying to get a hold of them, and well, I have got a hold of them, but as you know, well, especially sometimes, I mean, I'm really pretty responsible about, well, this and this, yes, I'll do that, and I will do that, but a lot of creative people are just not so dependable when it comes to things like that. I'm not saying all of them, because I am dependable, but there are a lot that, you know, they have problems. Their problems are different than my problems. Kind of when I, you know, make a point of doing something, I usually go ahead and try to, you know, fulfill my obligations that I said I was going to do, or I wouldn't have done it. Who knows? But anyway, but yeah, so it's hard to get him and them at a point where they really feel like doing it, and then so I have to kind of be the one that, you know, calls them and say, can you do it this week, this day? And they'll go, well, yeah, I'll see. And then all of a sudden something comes up and they can't do it that day. And, you know, I get tired of it for a while. And so I'll just not pursue it again. And then I'm feeling like, well, it's time I want to pursue that again. So what I would do is go to their practice, and they could do it there. One thing what I'm thinking about, we're talking too long, but one thing what I'm thinking about doing is I would have an open house here. Everyone I know is getting the shots, and so you know, we'd still kind of halfway almost wear a mask, but now we can do it outside. So if I have an open house here, and there would, a lot of people would be glad if I would do that, and it could be outside. The band could play outside, and if that would be the case, then I could just they'd be more comfortable probably just, you know, playing in a concert kind of, or, you know, setting, instead of being at, they would, you know, feel more comfortable doing that. So maybe I'll think about that. I pay them about, and it's cheap, really, because a lot of people around here, performers, I mean, they will perform for free if you just kind of ask them, because they just want to perform, you know. But when I was starting out, I was always appreciative of people, you know, wanting to buy my stuff, and I think I should support them. So I give them, I don't know what I will give them this time, but I usually give them about $20 an hour to play. Each one of them, there are 2 people in the band, and they play for 2 hours, so that's like $80. And they really seem to, you know, be glad to get it. And then they put a tip jar out, and it depends if somebody that's got some money. I know a few people that, you know, have quite a bit of money, and they'll put, you know, more money in the thing. So it's good that, you know, those people, there's not a lot of extra money they have. Oh, I've been talking and talking and talking, but this is like a conversation I would be having on a live stream, except I don't have to answer people's questions. But anyway, but you know, if you feel like having, if you want me to get on the do a live stream, I will. I mean, you know, I don't want to bore people, but you know, if you want, you know, I don't know what it would be about, or anything like that, but I keep coming to these things. But yes, I guess that's it. I just rambled on, and there's a lot of information, but I'm just being myself. And I don't have a shirt on. I have my shawl on because it's so warm, but I don't have my dentures in, so I'm not going to show my part of my toothless mouth, a toothless mouth. So, and the irises are going to get ready to bloom. I can't wait till those start blooming. They haven't bloomed in this location in a long time. And then there's this thing here that's getting ready to bloom, and it's just absolutely fantastic. And then a rose there, it blooms. There's roses there. Those are Stella d'Ors lilies. This is that will be nice. That thing there is, I call it a phlox. So, okay, you guys, just, my brain just keeps going. So we'll talk or later.